the national anthem. Like, that's what they're pissed off about. Like, that's
because
what
he violated their sacred space, their sacred football space.
Yeah, so that I wasn't in the NFL at that time, and I think the saddest part about that whole ordeal was how and this is the amazing thing about the news media, right? Is at the point it got so it became a partisan issue, right? What he was actually fighting for, what he was actually trying to bring attention to, was like never talked about anymore, right? Like,
well, it was all about like he's disrespecting the troops, right? Like,
yeah, it completely changed from he's protesting. He's using his American right as a citizen to protest against police brutality of black men, right? And so that's the whole message he was trying to put out there. By a few weeks after the whole thing started, like that, you didn't hear that at all. All you ever heard was, oh, he's disrespecting the troops, he's disrespecting the military, all this type of stuff. And that's the saddest part about the whole thing is he was trying to be valiant and, do something that was, I think, incredible. And it got taken to a whole different level when it got partisanized, obviously when Trump, tweeted that or whatever. And then he kind of energized his base against Kaepernick, and it just really, for me, like that's what was the most devastating part about that whole ordeal.
Do you think he would be on a team now if it wasn't for that?
Oh, I think definitely.
Yeah.
He's a Super Bowl quarterback, you know what I mean? And I think he was right in his prime. And he was just such a different type of quarterback, especially when you see all these great quarterbacks nowadays. He was a dual threat quarterback who just made it really tough and difficult for defenses. And so I think, he would actually fit even more so right in with today's game, even than when he was actually playing.
And when you think about the quarterbacks who actually got starts while Kaepernick was out of the league, it's like there's no way they would not have preferred to have him on the field than whoever they were pulling off of like the XFL roster or whatever.
It is just such a creepy thing. Because imagine if, like, every day when you went into work, you had to fucking do the Pledge of Allegiance.
On national television.
Yeah.
Or just like at your fucking office or
and there's
whatever.
going to be a camera on you while you're doing it, and they respond to your reaction to the song. And everyone's going to be making sure that you're not doing anything that is disrespectful to the song.
Rolling your eyes or
you
drooling.
can't be mean to the song. And I can't imagine just having to like keep your face, impassive, even though you probably don't give 0.2 of a shit.
And but like you were talking earlier about football is America's game, and so much of football, the sport, like as it's experienced in America, like just is America. Is like the business of America. It's the self-image of America. It's the identity of America. But that's like a very narrow bandwidth of like what is American and what isn't. And like in the NFL, earlier, in American history, at a time when there was a very strong tradition of like big time professional athletes who took very bold, radical political stands, like Lou Alcindor, who would become Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Jim Brown, and the '68 Olympic team of black men in this country taking like very radical political stands at a time when I guess on the surface America was a moral country, but they're hailed for it now, like Ali and guys like that. But they were loathed at the time. They were absolutely loathed. They were like some of the most hated people in America for doing that, for disrespecting the Olympics, disrespecting the fans or the game or things like that. But if you wanted to take a political stand, from I think we should bomb Saddam, or supporting the troops is a political stance. Like at the Super Bowl, they unveil a 100-yard American flag and then a stealth bomber flies over the stadium. I mean, that's pretty political right there. So, just from your perspective, as the cultural resonance of football in America is inextricably tied in America and always has been, because most of the people who play the sport overwhelmingly are black men. Right. And then it's an audience of, not overwhelmingly, but it's white mainstream America that's consuming it and loves it more than anything. And how do you feel do you feel is that tension still there? Do you experience that at all?
Personally, I don't, going to, it's awesome going to a Chargers game. There's actually a huge amount of a Latino population. There's a good amount of black people. Obviously, it's going to be majority white, but there's an influx of a lot of diversity, which I love to see. I love interacting with our fans who, especially at the training camp practices, there's a lot of Hispanic. We have a very strong Hispanic support base, which is awesome to see. But I think for me, sports has always been an amazing place because it's a place, especially when I got to college, where I can interact with people from all teammates and brothers from all over the country. And we don't all have, I mean, there was 100 of us in college, so we didn't all have this exact same political views and stuff, but we could actually sit down and talk to each other and we can disagree. And at the same time, I could still love them and we could still